These notes are to introduce you to integers and absolute value. First, let's start with an integer. An integer includes the counting numbers, so the numbers 1, 2, 3, and so on, the numbers that we learned when we learned how to count. Their opposites, and their opposites are the negative values. So the opposite of 1 is -1, the opposite of 2 is -2, etc. And 0. So these are called integers. Counting numbers, their opposites, and 0. The number line below shows the integers from -15 to 15. Alright, so here on our number line, we have our positive numbers that are greater than 0 and our negative numbers that are less than 0. Remember, the further you go to the right, the larger the numbers become. The further you go to the left, the smaller the numbers become. Negative integers versus positive integers. Negative integers have values less than 0. So they are to the left of 0 on the number line. Positive integers have values greater than 0. So they are to the right of 0 on the number line. 0 is neither positive nor negative. So 0 is a neutral number. It's not positive or negative. So how do we use integers? So you can use integers to describe opposite situations. Positive integers, we could use it to describe a bank deposit, so adding money to an account. We can use a positive number to describe an elevation above sea level. And we can use a positive integer to show or to state a rise in temperature. When we want to use a negative integer, we're going to do a bank withdrawal. That means we're going to take the money out of an account. When we're talking about an elevation below sea level, or when we're talking about a drop in temperature. So here's an example. What temperatures are indicated on the Celsius thermometer? So you use integers to describe the temperature. So step 1 is to find the temperature on thermometer A. The temperature is below 0, so we use a negative number. The thermometer A shows a temperature of -10 degrees Celsius. Step 2 is to find the temperature on thermometer B. The temperature is above 0, so we use a positive number. So thermometer B shows a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. All right, so above 0 would be a positive number, and below 0 would be a negative number. Opposites are integers that are the same distance from 0 on a number line. They are called opposites. So for an example, 4 and -4 are opposites. They are each the same distance from 0 on the number line. So the opposite of 4 is -4, and the opposite of -4 is 4. All right, so we see on the number line, here's -4, here's +4. If we count back, 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to 0, +4 is 4 spaces from 0. Same with -4. Okay, 4 units from 0. So they are equal distance from 0, so we call them opposite numbers. Let's discuss absolute value. The absolute value of a number is its distance from 0 on a number line. Since a distance must be either a positive number or 0, the absolute value of a number is always positive or 0. Okay, so when you're talking about absolute value, you're talking about the number's distance from 0. So that means you're counting spaces. So whether you're counting from a negative number to 0 or from a positive number to 0, you're counting how many spaces or how far away that number is from 0. All right, so that means that it has to be a positive value, because we don't count in negative numbers. We don't say -1, -2, -3, -4. We don't count that way. All right, so we're talking about distance, so it's going to be a positive value. The absolute value of a number x is written as x inside of these brackets. These are called the absolute value brackets, and inside of it is your number. So this reads the absolute value of x, and it would be x, positive x. All right, so let's look at the example. The integer 4 and -4 are opposites. You can use the number line below to see that each number is the same distance from 0. So the absolute value of -4 is 4, and the absolute value of 4 is 4. All right, because we're talking about how many units from 0 these numbers are. So the absolute value will be 4. All right, so let's look at this example of absolute value. Hannah wrote a check for more money than she has in her bank account. The balance in her account is now negative $60. How much does Hannah owe the bank in dollars? So step 1 for this problem is to see the amount that she owes. So is the amount she owes a positive or negative number? So we see that it is a negative $60, because so we know it is a negative number. Okay, but you can't pay back a negative number, right? You have to pay back a positive number. So she would have to pay the bank back a positive $60. So she would have to give them $60. So we use absolute value to solve for this. The amount she owes in dollars is negative $60. The absolute value of negative $60, or $60. So Hannah owes the bank $60, okay? Because we can't give the bank negative money. All right, we owe them, so we have to give them $60. All right, any questions? Let me know.